If you're joining us on our YouTube stream, you can see him decked out in his City Connect uniforms, sporting the off-season stash as well. Padres broadcaster Mark Grant is with us here on 97.3 The Fan. Mud, good morning.
Gentlemen.
You look great.
Thank you.
You do look good.
You all look great as well. I'm honored to be on your show after the holiday.
Ryan Cohen's in the chat. He says, mud in the City Connects is a level of beauty I didn't know the human eye was capable of seeing. And I agree with him. You do look good.
Well, first of all, shout out to Ryko.
Yeah, love Ryko.
Love that kid.
He's a good kid.
He's a gem. He's a beauty. He's a prince, and proud to call him friend.
Yeah.
And the mustache, you guys know the story, right? This is in honor of the late, great Peter Seidler.
All right. I was going to ask.
I didn't know that.
Because I saw Tom had one.
Yes.
Now, I grew one last year when Peter was here and we did an interview with him, and he and I had the big, long, and I dyed it, did the whole thing.
Really?
And I didn't know we were doing it again. I would have done it too.
I was at the ballpark, I think in January at some time for something. I forgot what it was. And I ran across Tom Seidler, and he had a little starter going.
Yeah, starter.
Right.
Starter mustache.
Yeah, a little teaser. And I said, hey, you're going with the stash, huh, Tom? He goes, yeah, just a little reminder, honor Peter.
Man.
And it clicked. I said, you know what? I'm starting mine. Next time I shave, I'm not shaving.
That's awesome, man.
So then I incorporated, because I looked at some photos, and I remember Peter also had a little bit of a Van Dyke.
Yeah.
So I let the bottom part kind of on the chin grow a little bit, too.
Can we get Don Orsillo in on this
Don's got a Van Dyke working. Yeah.
Don, now your partner, Mud Grant, is currently in the Cayman Islands.
Is he back yet?
I don't know. I saw him doing a video about chickens yesterday. I think he's been hitting the rum
I don't know if he's
Yeah.
He may be there permanently.
He's not coming back. Flip flops, dry fit, and t-shirts.
He is.
What a life, huh? Is my coffee in the way there, Paulie? And then let's see what else you mentioned. Mustache.
City Connects.
Oh, City Connects. Hopefully they change our luck today because our bats are allergic to baseballs.
Yep, ours were too.
My team, and it seems like the crosshairs of our defenders when they're throwing, it's off just a little bit.
Sure.
And hey, let's give a shout out to the training staff here.
Oh, Ricky,
by the way, Ricky
Huerta
Huerta and everybody here in Fantasy Camp.
Giving me the very strong Tylenol.
Really?
Or the Advil.
Extra strength.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're not one of these people. Here's one thing that bugs me a lot. This is a Larry David moment. How come when people take like a medicine or something and they go, what does that do?
You got to make sure it gets down there.
No, you just give me a pill. I'll swallow
Here,
it.
I got pills.
Give me a.
I need water too. Yeah,
I have to have water.
I can't.
Can you go
really?
dry? You do a dry?
Pills.
No, I can't go dry, but I could go coffee. I can go whatever. What do you want? Okay, no, I'm kidding. So anyway, it's good. Yeah, it's good to be here.
It's good to have
fun.
you,
It's
man.
fun to see the familiar faces and the new people who take part in the experience, the fantasy camp.
And it's here's the funny part about fantasy camp that maybe the layman doesn't understand. So over to my right is the trainer's room. Now, it's a kick for all of us to go in there and get a little work done. Sure. The players hate it. The managers, they keep an eye to see who's in there getting work done. And then that person gets their balls busted if you're in there getting work. But it's funny because you could say to your skipper, I'm trying to get my body ready to get out on the field and compete. Is it the same at the big league level? Do you watch the guys that are constantly in there getting taped up and worked on?
From past experience, your team as well as anybody. Obviously, You're around the guys. The guys who have a little ailment here and there. He's in there every day because maybe he's got. It's like, for instance, this just came to mind. Dennis Rasmussen, the big tall left-hander. He blew out his ankle when he was at Creighton, I think, playing basketball. He was a basketball player as well. So Raz was always in there getting his ankle taped and then there are guys who just have lingering things. They can post.
They still post.
But they're always in there getting something taken care of. And whether that's just part of the routine or it's legit or whatever, hey, whatever works for you. If you can go out and post and produce, that's all that matters.
I feel like.
But as far as looking at guys like, oh, dude, is so-and-so
getting a rub down?
I feel like the 34 and 35-year-olds are going to be in there more than the 23-year-olds, too. That's just the human body.
You would be surprised, though, because some of the younger, more fit guys, they're the ones in there the most. Yeah. It's very strange.
Well, think about it. The brain, and you guys know this, the brain works a little bit quicker than the body.
Oh, yeah.
And you want to sprint. You want to throw harder. You want to run harder. You want to swing harder. And I tell you what, there's a lot of sore bodies in there today. Well, today's the double bill, too, right?
Yep, double bill today.
So 2 juegos. Oi. Sorry about being fluent.
Yeah, no big deal.
And it's going to be,
Tomorrow's going to suck.
Oh, my
Tomorrow's going
gosh.
to suck.
Do you do the cold, hot
I do.
pool?
I do. I can only really go into the waist. I really can't get down in the cold. The cold is the coldest you've ever felt.
Yeah, I know.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it works.
Paulie, how you feeling?
I'm good.
Oh, you don't have a mic? Well, that's a good thing.
I'm good. The biceps a little sore
Yeah.
from throwing
Yeah.
for 3 innings yesterday. And
3 innings.
other than that, I feel good. But I know that was just in one game yesterday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we've got the 2 games today, so tomorrow's going to be
Okay, good.
rough.
Yeah.
The training staff here is unbelievable. And
Yeah.
these are the big league guys. They work on the big league guys, and
Yeah.
you get to hear the stories, and it's so much fun.
I thought it was pretty cool. The first day when everybody was introduced in the main clubhouse. So, we come here for spring training, big league spring training. We realize and recognize who sits where in the clubhouse. So I went over to 2 campers. There's 2 lockers near a door that connects into a hallway and then into the dining room.
Yep.
And there's 2 lockers right there. So I went over to the guys, and they're sitting there. I go, you guys are pretty darn lucky right now. And they, why? Because those 2 lockers are Manny's lockers.
Really?
And they're like, wow, really?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool to be able to go hit. Now, it is a little embarrassing, and we told this on our live stream last night. We were all in the cages yesterday getting work, and in strides, shortstop, Jackson Merrill here getting a little work in, right? They're doing rookie camps and things.
Right.
And he sits with his bat between his hands, and he just watches and waits. And one of his coaches said, yeah, you gonna get some swings in? And he goes, just waiting for a cage. And all these old turds are in there swinging, missing the ball completely, hitting through the tee. And there's Jackson Merrill. And I thought,
did he know fantasy camp?
Yeah, they all do. But it's one of those things where you're like, I hope we don't mess up his process here. You know what I mean? If he has a bad year, is it because he didn't get the ABs he needed out here?
Well, I think that tells you something about the kid. Very respectful,
yes,
right?
Very respectful.
Not throwing his weight around saying, hey, look who I am.
Yeah, beat it.
I'm more,
beat it,
take
nerd.
a hike, tell your story walking. I need some hacks. That's really neat.
We're joined by the great Mark Grant here on Ben and Woods this morning. So I asked you, I challenged you the other day, and I said, Mudley, I'm gonna need your best baseball story.
All right.
And this was driving you crazy because
it was, but I think I came up with
okay,
it.
good
because I put myself in the position of having a talk with people around baseball, and the one that I constantly tell, and it's an old school story.
Good.
Will you guys appreciate that?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'll set it up. I heard this story for the first time, and I nearly peed my pants. The late great Jimmy Davenport, all-star third baseman for the Giants back in the day. He was a Giant through and through from day one. Coach, manager, and so he's old school, like 50s and 60s, right? So it was at a fantasy camp, and Davy was from Mississippi. He had that low voice, or he's from Alabama, so he told stories like this, right? But he was just a gamer and just a great guy.
Jake Peavy's laughing at your Alabama accent.
Oh yeah. So Davy, we're talking about baseball stories, and he told a story about Bobby Bragan was the manager of the Milwaukee Braves back in like the 60s. And the Braves at the time, the Milwaukee Braves, were in the middle of they were like in a 14-game losing streak. I mean, just horrible. And on that team was the great Eddie Matthews, Hall of Famer, San Diego, north of San Diego, right? Fallbrook, I believe, right? Is it?
I think so.
I think it is Fallbrook.
Yeah.
You can look that up, Ben, just to clarify. So anyway, they have he calls a team meeting. Everybody's in front of their lockers. Now, remember, Jimmy Davenport's telling this story. So Bobby Bragan gets up and says, you guys are horrible, and I'm cleaning it up. I have to clean it up.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys are terrible. You guys stink. You guys are an embarrassment to the club. You're an embarrassment to your family. You shouldn't even be big leaguers. You guys really suck. You guys are the worst, right? In fact, he says, he looks at everyone and he goes, in fact, you know what? F all you guys. So he starts going down the line. Guys are sitting in front of their locker. He goes, yeah, F all you guys. F you, F you, F you. He gets to Eddie Matthews. F you. Eddie Matthews goes, F me. He goes, no, not you. F you, F you. He was going to pinch his head off. And, that story stuck with me. And what a great story.
Not you.
No, not you. So that's like my one go-to if somebody wants to hear a good baseball story.
So that's a great one you told. We were talking too, though, about it's different, man, and the game has evolved. But not only the game has evolved and changed, certainly it changes every year, different rules, etc.
Yeah,
we were talking about the spread.
Yeah.
In there, the spread that we have to eat, and the spread that the minor, you saw Jackson, Maryland, they're having lunch. You saw Paulie and Marcy and all the Sellis and all those guys. They're in there. They got 100 different options. You were playing for the Giants at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You went to Montreal to play a game. Tell everybody about the spread.
Pittsburgh.
Oh, it's Pittsburgh. Okay. Tell them about the spread that you guys got in the visiting club.
Well, when you get called to the big leagues, no matter how old you are and what year, I mean, it's like you expect something like the upgrade.
Sure.
Right? So we're in Pittsburgh. My first time in 1984 with the club and Three Rivers Stadium, and it's I'm in the big league club. Pittsburgh's the Pirates. I mean, world champs, and 79 and Willie Stargell and everybody. So I walk in the clubhouse and go to my locker and get undressed, get my shorts on, get my shower shoes and a t-shirt, and what's in the spread? There's a table, a round table in the middle of the clubhouse. There's a sleeve of Ritz crackers and an open jar of Jif peanut butter and a knife that's been like dipped in there. Like, I don't know who had their lips around that knife after spread the peanut butter on the Ritz cracker.
Go get them, fellas.
Oh my, dive in, have at it.
Training table, baby.
You have got to be kidding me.
Man. I know.
All
and
right.
then after BP, it gets better. After BP, he would splurge and go buy a couple pizzas and throw them on the things. Hey, here's a little pregame before the game starts. Have a slice.
A slice. Was that warfare? Was that warfare against the visiting team, or were the spreads like that everywhere?
Well, back then, these were clubhouse guys who there was almost like generational from family, family to their son followed their dad, and then whatever. And there were a few that had the good spreads. St. Louis was always a good one. St. Louis was always good. The Risch brothers, Jerry and Jeff Risch, they ran the clubhouse back in the day. Top notch quality. It's little things like that make the difference, man. You think back and Claude in Montreal.
You were telling about Claude.
Hey, Claude, what's going on? How come there's only like Skittles and there's only like a jar of jelly and what's this French stuff you got here? Whatever. Let's go. How do you say shake yourself in French?
It's so good.
Mike Grant is here. And Fantasy Camp, it's also the 40-year anniversary of the 1984
Yes.
Padres. So they've got some of the old 1984. Now, you weren't on that team, but Tempe, Dave Drevecki's here. And I know ball players, there are fraternities. It's good to see some of the guys from your generation back
Haven't
out
seen
here.
Tim Lawler in a long, long time. Great athlete. Dave Drevecki. Once again, we were traded for one another in 1987.
Yep.
He went from San Diego to the Giants, and then, of course, I went from the Giants in that 7-player deal. Terry Kennedy's here every year. Good to see Terry. So,
is it good to see Terry? Is it
your manager? I don't think it's good for you to see him right now.
So I looked it up because I knew you weren't on that team, but you were on the Giants. That was your rookie year, 1984.
Yes.
And I checked. I wondered if you faced
I was
the
20.
1984 Padres, and you did. Your third start of your career was against the 1984 Padres in June of that year, and I wanted to test to see if you remembered.
It was that Candlestick.
Game.
I remember that.
At Candlestick Park. You were going up against Eric
Shaw.
Correct.
Yeah. Wow. And I think
you gave up
Carmelo
one home run.
Martinez hit a home run.
He did.
Yeah,
he absolutely did.
And I think I went 7+.
So it was interesting. You actually pitched pretty well. I'd say you outpitched Eric Shaw. You went 7 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned. Shaw gave up 10 hits and 6 runs, but he got the win because he went 8, and they came in against one of your teammates in the bullpen, and the Padres rallied to take the win away from you in the 8th inning with a big rally. Now, do you remember what Flan did off of you? You got a triple off of you in that game. But you did strike out one guy in the Padres twice.
Boch.
Yes! Let's go!
You struck out Bruce Bochy.
You remember
twice.
You remember the sequence?
Started him over with a fastball away, and then threw him a slider. He swung over the top of it.
Goose came in the ninth inning, got the save as usual for the Padres after they had rallied in the eighth
And
inning.
what was the date on that?
That was June. What was it? June 3rd, 1984.
Okay, because I got traded a month later.
That's unreal.
July 4th.
No, they liked what they
you,
saw.
You still hadn't had a win yet. You were still searching for your first win. You were in line for it when you left
Didn't
the
get
game.
my first win until September
against
against the Braves at Candlestick.
That's unreal, man. That's unreal. We have to go to break. That was one of my favorite segments.
Thanks.
I love those stories.
Thanks. It's a pleasure seeing you guys.
Love you, man.
Go get them. Love you guys too. Thanks for all you do.
Good to see you.
Babe,
Mark Grant.
and everybody else out there, keep in touch with yourselves.
All right.
Padres Fantasy Camp Coach.